In this video, we're going to learn about the cannibal witch Baba Yaga from Slavic folklore, starting with the question, was she really a cannibal? And what lessons do her stories teach us? It is my hope that by the time we finish, you may recognize her for the complex and intriguing character she has always deserved to be. What if, instead of being some scary old cannibal witch that rumors have made of her, she's in fact a wise, resourceful, and powerful benefactor that assists the heroes of our stories? In the actual myths, the Baba Yaga is a complex character who may serve as both hero and villain. Continue watching this video to find out more. A quick disclaimer though, due to the vast scope of Russian and Slavic folklore, it's challenging, perhaps impossible, to cover all aspects of her character across all regions over hundreds of years in a brief YouTube video. I do not possess a PhD in Slavic folklore. In fact, you do. But if you're seeking a more focused discussion on Baba Yaga, there are numerous sources that you can find online. My primary focus is to simply not give incorrect information. Perhaps after watching this, as a primer, you might be inspired to seek out more information. This means you may not find every possible knowable fact about the grandmother of witches in this presentation. However, if you are aware of some important details pertaining to this topic that you feel we could all benefit from and would like to share with us, please do so in the comments. Baba Yaga is a fascinating figure from Slavic folklore, particularly prevalent in Russian tales. She is often depicted as a witch or supernatural being, and her character may embody both malevolent and benevolent traits. Baba Yaga's first documented appearance seems to be from woodblock prints dating from the late 17th and early 18th centuries. In some of these, she is depicted as riding a pig into battle, where she fights a creature known as the crocodile. Scholars have differing opinions about their intended purpose, some interpreting these as political parodies, while others believe they reveal Baba Yaga to be a shaman. The age of these images suggests stories about her had been passed down through ancient oral traditions. Her first written mention is in a Russian grammar book from 1755. I assume there were more examples, but those are the oldest which have survived the ages. In Russian and Slavic folklore, Baba Yaga appears to be more of a title than a personal name. In some stories, there are three likely sisters, of which the oldest will be referred to by the title of the Baba Yaga. Pronunciation of her name may vary depending on regional accents and personal preferences, though Baba Yaga is most common. Baba Yaga is also accepted. The name Baba Yaga is of Slavic origin and dates back to at least the medieval period. However, the first part, Baba, is a Babel word, which are often among the first word-like sounds made by infants. Therefore, Baba likely means something akin to mama. If you're really wanting to get into the weeds on that, you'll find that in addition to mother, Baba might also mean old woman, midwife, sorceress, or even just married woman. In modern Russian, it is tied to the word for grandmother, which is babushka. Now, Yaga, on the other hand, is a bit more tricky, and there is disagreement even among scholars. The one thing linguists do seem to believe is that Yaga has some negative associations and meanings. Some suggest it may come from the Old Slavic word meaning horror, anger, or shudder. Others propose it could be related to the Proto-Slavic word for snake, witch, and evil woman, or scary female bodily functions, because yes, men were terrified of such things. Cue South Park clip. You know the one.
I just don't trust anything that bleeds for 5 days and doesn't die.
Though her age is unknown, she is typically portrayed as an old woman with a long crooked nose and a hunched back. Some tales claim her nose is so long that when she lays on her back, it touches the ceiling of her hut. Baba Yaga's skin is often depicted as being rough and aged. She is sometimes described as being extremely thin, to the point of skeletal, and one of her nicknames is Bone Leg. Her hair is long, unkempt, tangled, and matted, giving her a disheveled appearance. Her hair can be either gray or white, further emphasizing her old age and otherworldly nature. And as if all of that wasn't horrible enough, one of her most distinctive features are her teeth. They are often described as being made of iron or steel. This detail adds to her fearsome appearance and once again places emphasis on her supernatural nature. When she roams the countryside or dark forests where she resides, she rides in a great mortar, appearing as a great iron or stone cauldron, which she propels through the air using a giant pestle as a sort of magical oar. The precise measurements or details of her speed and height of travel are unknown. The stories generally describe her flight as swift and magical, allowing her to cover great distances in a short amount of time. The mortar is often depicted as flying low to the ground, skimming over the treetops or gliding just above the Earth's surface. This ambiguity allows for the exact capabilities of her mortar to be left to our imagination and the interpretation of the storyteller. As she travels, Baba Yaga uses a broom made of silver birch to sweep away her tracks. And Baba Yaga is sometimes associated with pagan beliefs, and some theories suggest her origins may be traced back to ancient Slavic goddesses of death, rebirth, nature, and time. In the legends, she is known to live deep in the forest, surrounded by the wilderness. She can communicate with and command animals, often using them as helpers or guardians. At times, she is depicted as a guardian of the boundaries between the living and the dead, and may even possess the ability to grant or deny access to the underworld. This connection to death is further emphasized by her association with bones and her alleged cannibalistic tendencies. Now, to address those alleged cannibalistic tendencies, many stories do indeed depict Baba Yaga as threatening to eat the protagonists. In some tales, she is said to have a particular fondness for the flesh of the young. However, in most of these stories, the protagonists manage to escape before she can carry out her threat. The depiction of Baba Yaga as a cannibal serves to heighten her terrifying image and the dangers she represents. Whether she has actually eaten anyone in the stories often remains ambiguous, adding to her mysterious and unpredictable nature. What we might interpret from this is her cannibalistic aspect is actually symbolic rather than literal, and given other facts we know of her personality, it likely represents the devouring of one's fears, weaknesses, or vices. To support this theory, there are several examples in folklore where she helps individuals who approach her with respect and humility. The moral lessons from Baba Yaga's stories often revolve around themes of resourcefulness, bravery, and the importance of kindness, honesty, and respect. She is known to provide guidance or magical items to those who can answer her riddles or complete her near impossible tasks. Characters who are clever and respectful can often outwit or appease Baba Yaga, while those who are rude or lazy may be transformed into a tiny forest animal. In the Cinderella tale of Vasilisa the Beautiful, Baba Yaga aids the protagonist. Vasilisa had been sent to Baba Yaga's hut by her evil stepmother. Instead of being devoured as the stepmother had hoped, Vasilisa was able to complete the witch's tasks with the aid of an enchanted doll given to her by her real mother before she died. Impressed by Vasilisa's capabilities, Baba Yaga gives the girl a magical lantern in the form of a skull with fiery eyes. Vasilisa then returns home, and the light from the skull burns her evil stepmother and sisters to ash. In some versions of the folklore, she is said to have 3 mysterious servants who patrol her forests on horseback. These servants might appear human, but they are not. They are personifications of certain natural phenomena. Bright Day, also known as the White Rider, is described as a man riding a white horse, and he represents day or dawn. When asked who he is, Baba Yaga explains that he is her day. Red Sun, who is known as the Red Rider, is depicted as a man riding a red horse, and he symbolizes the sun. Baba Yaga refers to him as her bright sun. And the Black Rider, who is portrayed as a man riding a black horse, personifies night. Baba Yaga identifies him as her dark night. These riders cannot be encountered together, as each represents a part of the day, as measured by the sun. Bright Day is bound to and governs dawn to midday, Red Sun from midday to sundown, and Black Night rules until daybreak. In addition to these riders, Baba Yaga is also said to have invisible servants inside her hut. In Vasilisa the Beautiful, when Vasilisa asks about the hands that serve her food and drink, Baba Yaga explains that they are her invisible servants. And though not specifically identified as avatars or different incarnations of Baba Yaga, there are a few similar entities who share common traits and names. Baba Roga is a name used in some regions to refer to a similar character who shares traits with Baba Yaga. Baba Roga is often associated with forests and is depicted as a supernatural being. Jezababa is a name used in Czech and Slovak folklore, referring to a witch-like figure who shares similarities with Baba Yaga. Baba is often associated with water and is known for her magical abilities. As ubiquitous as Baba Yaga herself is her legendary hut. First, surrounding her hut, one may find a fence made of human bones. 11 posts are topped by a human skull. This boundary around her dwelling marks the separation between the mystical domain and the natural world. The bone fence and skulls symbolize death, transformation, and the threshold between worlds. It is also symbolic of the psychological challenges and fears the protagonist must overcome to reach Baba Yaga. The barrier represents the inner struggle one must face on a journey of self-discovery or transformation. From outside, the hut appears quite small, but is carried around by 2 enormous chicken legs. When first encountered, Baba Yaga's hut will be constantly spinning, and entry will be impossible without first reciting the phrase, little hut, stand with your back to the forest and your front to me." Keep in mind, this is just one version of the command phrase. Folklore includes multiple variations on this theme. I hope this brief introduction to the mysterious Baba Yaga really helps give you a better idea of who she is. That she's a helpful figure, intended to teach us important lessons, and not that cruel old hag that eats babies. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. I am your host, Aten, here at Aten Paranormal, and I really appreciate your support by liking the video. And if this is your first time here, please subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of my future uploads. I cover paranormal and occult research, true crime, and mental health, because in one way or another, those topics are typically connected. Thank you so much for watching.